Hello. Today we will be finding all the zeros of the polynomial x cubed minus 7x squared plus 17x minus 15. We will start by setting the polynomial to equal 0. We will then find all the rational coefficients in the form of p over q by putting the leading coefficient under the last coefficient, which will be 15 over 1. We then find all the factors of 15 and 1. For 15, we have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 5, and plus or minus 15. For q, we only have plus or minus 1. This gives us the possible roots of plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 5, and plus or minus 15. You can then choose one of these possible roots and perform synthetic division. We'll take 3. The polynomial can now be rewritten as x squared minus 4x plus 5. The 3 we used as the divisor gets brought down and becomes x minus 3 in its own parentheses. We can now find our zeros. First, x minus 3 is equal to 0 when x is equal to 3. Our first zero is 3. We can then use the quadratic equation to find the zeros of the polynomial x squared minus 4x plus 5. To do this, we'll need to use the quadratic equation and write that out as 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5 over 2 times 1. The numerator simplifies to 4 plus or minus square root of 16 minus 20, or 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4. This then becomes the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 4. Since we cannot have a negative square root, that negative 1 becomes I. So we now have 4 plus or minus I times the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2, so we now have 4 plus or minus I times 2 over 2. We can then cancel out the denominator from the numerator, turning 2I into I and 4 into 2, giving us x equals 2 plus or minus I. That then gives us x equals 2 minus I, and x equals 2 plus I. We now have all the zeros of the original polynomial. The zeros are 3, 2 plus I, and 2 minus I.